I'm here to talk about deployments. Yeah. And some of these different deployment types. Blue-green deployment, I'll show you an example of that, but blue-green deployment is going to be, here you're using this. Now, I'm going to set up behind the scenes. So like if you go to a music concert, the band that's playing right now, they have another setup behind the scenes. So that way, they don't have to waste that much time. Same thing with those deployments. Recreate is like, wham, let's terminate the old version and let's wait for that time. So this wouldn't be something that anyone would be interested in, but we'll see that in action. So terminate an old version and then release a new one. Rolling update or ramped update, this is where you get one by one, one by one, one by one. One will terminate, one will come back up. One will terminate, one will come back up. One will terminate, one will come back up. But Canary deployment is the one that I'm going to be focused on for the most part. Canary deployment is you just cut over just a small subset of servers or nodes first before doing a full rollout. So one, right? You just take one of them and then the rest you keep there, do some metrics on it. And then when you're ready, just add another and add another and add another. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. But first, the Kubernetes rollout strategies, the ones that I was talking about. So Kubernetes deployments use replica sets as its history base. And deployment manages moving the pods from the old replica set to the new one. So deployments have multiple replica sets. Replica sets represent the history. If the deployment is not stable, each rollback updates its revision. Kubernetes allows for rollbacks as well and does cleanup, pausing, and all that other good stuff. So let's take a look at Kubernetes. I think this will go well. As of like 2 hours ago, my Kubernetes on my local machine wasn't working. I was getting a little bit nervous there, but I think everything's going to end up looking fine. So here's my Kubernetes. Everyone know about K9s or K9s? All right, yeah, of course. Absolutely. So let me come in over here and let's do each of these deployments in here. So I'm going to go here to deployment types. There it is. Let's go over to blue-green, and I'm going to go ahead and deploy it. I think I'm good to go. And here we go. So I just went ahead and deployed that. I have blue. I have green in here. So I have both of those rolling out on this, and away we go. So I have let's see, was green supposed to go out? Well, let's take a look over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my Sudoku and let's go to a local host here. I hope. Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. Oh, you know what? I know what I need to do. Give me a second here. Yep. The ingress is not rolling out. So sorry about that. I talked too soon. Well, let's hope the demo gods are going to help me out here. Here we go. Stand by. I already had downloaded this, so hopefully that doesn't take too long here. Is it blinking or am I... Here, let's see. Hopefully this will get going there. I forgot to load up the ingress, so I'm going to load up the ingress. There's the ingress controller. Let's go to service here. So ingress, for those that don't know, is, how do we allow traffic into our Kubernetes? So I went ahead and rolled that part out. So I think we are good to go. And yep, there it is. So as we see right here, this is all blue, right? That's my blue. And you can do your own, blue-green deployment fairly easy. And let's take a look here. And here it is. Let's come back over here and go to the deployment types. And let's go over here to blue-green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this toggle here. And my toggle here is I'm just going to go to the service and just flip it. If it's blue, flip it to green. If it's green, flip it to blue. And just like that, should be easy to go. And that's what a blue-green deployment is. And there it is, right? That gets flipped over to green. All right, so we're we're doing things fairly easy. Let's go over and see what a recreate looks like. Oh, let's come over here. Sorry about that. Let me come back to blue-green and delete it. All right, beautiful. Let's take a look at what recreate looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and deploy that one. Okay, so what I have here is I should have the recreate pods right over here. And what I'm going to do here on this screen is I am going to change the Nginx on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and run this one here. And here's what I'm going to be doing here. There it is. And what I'll do here is I'll just change that to maybe like a 101 there. All right, excellent. So given that then, I have that already. So I'm going to do a kubectl, apply, maybe, apply, and Nginx recreate YAML. And so as I do this one, I don't know if you noticed that went really quick, right? Because I had all the 3 pods and it just like flipped it over, right? And so that's what a recreate is. So pretty brutal on how that part works, okay? So let's finally take a look at the third one here. So I'll delete that one. Beautiful. And let's come in over here. So we just saw that one. I'm going to do a rolling upgrade on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and deploy that. Here we go. So I deployed everything, and that should be going here. There's the Nginx for that. And on this one, I'm going to edit the Nginx rolling update on that. And what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change that particular version and see what happens with it. Now, before you saw the recreate, and the recreate was rather quick, right? You have it all, and then bam, we went over to that new version, okay? It wasn't like a blue-green. We didn't set it up like the blue-green. It was just really quick. Now, you're going to see a little bit of a difference here as we operate on this one. So I'm going to do a kubectl. Let me go ahead and bring that one up. Kubectl apply -F, and I'm going to go ahead and run that one again, and I'm going to try to be a little bit quick about it. There we go. And you'll notice this one's not as, forceful, right? It's just we got a little bit, and that's what that rolling update is. So you got to see all the different ones there. All right, so fantastic, and there it is. And, that's what the deployments are, or the standard ones. Yeah. Sure. You mean the SH files? Yeah, absolutely. Let's come over here. So the question was, can we see all the, I probably won't be able to show all of them, but let me just show what like one of them is, because they're all very similar to it. Just did a lot of scripting is really it. So here's that script here. For every file in the YAML, I'm just going to do a kubectl apply and then just state that that has been deployed. And then what I'm doing for this presentation is, just do a setup and a teardown. So here's what the delete looks like, which is, find all the files there and just delete. Yep. Yep. And that's what it's doing. That way I could be quick with the demos. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, please. Yeah. You want to see one of them? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. So the question was like this one over here with a rolling update. There it is. And thanks for asking that question, because I would have skipped that part. Yep. Right over here. Right. There's the deployment strategy, and that's what makes it a rolling update. Yeah, beautiful question. Awesome question. Absolutely. So very cool. And those are standard ones. So we're talking here about Canary deployments. So Canary deployments are a part of this particular architectural pattern called the strangler fig. And the strangler fig comes from this. I don't know if, because you have a lot of trees here, I don't know if you've seen anything like this. I'm sure you have because you have a lot more trees. I'm from the desert, so we don't have trees. No, we have trees, but they're not that much. But what these do is that those little vines there just like wrap around it and take all the nutrients, take all the sunlight, and then the tree is dead underneath. Like horrifying, right? But Martin Fowler, I think, is the one that named it a particular pattern. So it's called the strangler fig pattern, which is you have your legacy code, and then you have the new one coming out, and you want that new rollout to kind of like strangle out the legacy until that new one becomes the, rollout, right? But over time, right, that one strangler fig hasn't necessarily killed the tree, but over time it does. And that's a little bit of like where that, Canary deployment is going to come in. So canaries are coming from coal miners. So whenever coal miners dig for coal, not gold, but coal, maybe gold, who knows? But they would use a canary to sense out CO2 levels. They don't have as much. Oh, I thought that was I was like, time to wake up. I dream and I'm back at home. Anyway, so the canary has a smaller lung capacity. So if the bird is dead, you got to get out, right? And so that was the indicator. But as of 1986, at least in the U.S., they replaced them with sensors. The Police, a band from the 1980s, also has a song called Canary in a Coal Mine. But the idea for this is no big bang release. Take a little bit and just release it a little bit. Netflix has been doing this for years. When you go to the app or when you go to their website, you may experience the new release, but 90% of the time you're experiencing the old release, okay? Until you gain confidence that everything is going to be working well. How many of you have don't deploy Fridays? Anyone have that rule? Everyone's like, yes. How many have things are on fire Mondays? Right? So because you put out, thanks for the honesty, appreciate it. But yeah, the deployments, I don't want to do deployments on Friday, but you do the deployments on Monday, right? And then it's like, it's a great way to get out of meetings. I'll give you that, right? Let's deploy now because I don't want to be a part of that meeting. And then the deployment goes wrong, and then, then you got your week, cut out for you. But, deployment shouldn't be that. And we know this already, right? Deployment should be a rehearsed thing over and over again. That shouldn't be a surprise. And that's the idea for that. So we don't want that, big bang release, and we want to do things slowly. So we don't want that, things are on fire Monday. So the idea here is this, right? You have one application, the My App over here, you have the baseline, and you have the Canary. And you just add a little bit at a time until, you get this. And let me do this animation again. So here it is again. Baseline is just a little, one of the pods that is running from the legacy. And the reason you isolate that is so that way you can run aggressive metrics against that one baseline. And, it's even, right? You're matching a 1-to-1 or a 2-and-2 and a 3-and-3 against it. And that's the idea for that. You decide when it's comfortable enough that that new Canary is going to become the newer legacy. And that's what that is. Okay? All right. So yeah, that's what the baseline is. I already talked about it. It's going to be your reference point for comparison. And that's how that would work. So instead of duplicating the entire production environment, you just have one. So that way you can minimize costs, resource usages, things like that. Perform any kind of testing, A/B testing, or any statistical testing to ensure that that new rollout is going to be good. So the case for hidden deployments and shadowing. So one of the things that we could do is we could also shadow. Shadow is do a rollout but never expose it and have some sort of internal. Or, using your HTTP request, and if you have the ability to do so, you can take a look at that new rollout without exposing it to the public. Okay? And so Istio has that, and here's an example of that. So you could have something within your request that says, if user is equal to internal or level is equal to silver, you get to take a sneak peek in here for service number 2, okay? And you could drive all that. These are some of the things that you can do, okay? So A/B testing, what's that question? Oh yeah, please. Yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm. Yes. If you don't have the headers in the specific way, you're going to end up at service number 1. But if you have the proxy will be able to recognize that, particularly Istio and the way this is from Istio. But if you have the request a certain way, then you'll go over to service 2. For the testing, you would not be able to do. Can you repeat that part? Uh-huh. I don't know how to answer that. So the question is, the traffic is coming in. Would you be able to do the testing on it? One for viewing, and I would even say, for testing, I think would be good because you could just run the test because both of these are, likely going to be, touching the same data. Probably you wouldn't do inserts, but you could certainly do reads through that and take a look and see what the new rollout is going to be. Run that through the production. These would likely be labeled, so for any kind of telemetry collection, you can, hit that with the production and, the production traffic and take a look at the telemetry and just take a look at the health about that new rollout before you even do that rollout. A lot of these proxies can actually do both. So once that traffic hits, you could route them to both and see what the health of that application is. Yep, absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Yep. I guess so, yeah. I guess you could even make the argument it's a little bit of a blue-green deployment. You have something already set up, and then you're going to switch that over. Not necessarily a Canary, because the Canary is going to be one by one. So, yeah, excellent observation on that. Yeah, please. Yeah, but when I say legacy is not going to be like, hey, this app has been is 10 years old. Legacy is like your app has been like maybe a week old or a few days old because you're going to do a new rollout or a new release on there. Yep. That's what legacy means, because you want to consistently update, right? And so if you have that continuous deployment sort of thing, you start to rehearse and you get this as automated as possible. So any new commit could possibly be a rollout, because that commit goes through testing, goes through all this other rigor, and then you could start the Canary process in production. I don't even know if I said that, but yeah, all this is in production when you start to roll that out. Yep, absolutely. Anybody else? Cool. All right. So A/B testing is you have the experiment and then you have the control group. We've kind of seen that before, the test group and the control group, right? If you've taken a COVID test, or if you have ever taken a pregnancy test, there is the T and the C, right? So the experiment group and the control group. One that we know is solid, that's your baseline, and the other one, which is your experiment group. Statistically, is there a statistic significance to it? This is a means that you can determine the difference. And then you can have tools like p-values, z-values, or confidence variables to see if there's something significant enough for release. And so why am I using this? You could use this as a statistic analysis for, hey, I'm going to change a green button to a blue button. Are we going to have a lot of more fires by doing this? Okay. And so you could do statistic testing for that as well. So how do we perform that? Well, one of them is through Envoy, and Envoy is what's used for Istio. Okay. And so that's what that is, created by Lyft and, part of the level 7 of your networking model. It is an ambassador pattern, and that's what that is. So you could use it for circuit breaking, load balancing, and a whole lot of other things. So what you could do with this, here's an example of that envoy. Clusters, you have service A, and that has a weight of 80. Then you have cluster B, and you have a weight of 20. Okay? This means that going to this particular service, 80% is going to go over to service A, and 20 is going to go to service B. Let's take a look at that envoy. But again, I'll show you an Istio, but envoy is the basis for Istio. Okay? So let's give that a try. Let's see. Do I still have the rolling update stuff? Yeah, let me go ahead and delete that. So that should be clear. And there we go. All right. So let me come in over here. This one is just going to be envoy. And we'll take a look at the parts here. So here it is. And I'm going to do a Docker compose up dash D, I think is what it is for detach. And there we go. Okay. So we're running here. So what's going on here? Well, I have this Docker compose file, and here it is. I have a blue Nginx and I have a green Nginx that's rolling. And I have this envoy. See that envoy down here at the bottom? That's going to be the envoy YAML. Now let's take a look at what that is looking like. So this volume here is going to be taking a look at the envoy YAML. It will listen on port 10,000. Help me remember that. On port 10,000. And here's what that looks like. Lots of junk in here, but right over here is the one that I was just showing you. Okay? Again, envoy is the basis of Istio. And this is just, hey, I wish to do that weight in here by 80-20. This will do a round robin, 2 instances. And we have a blue instance and we have a green instance. Here's the green, here's the blue. I've already run this. So it was localhost, 10,000? Let's go over there. Localhost 10,000. Beautiful. Okay, and here it is. Now, I should have a, 80-20? So, there it is. So you should see more blue overall, right? But I'm just hitting the same port, and, I'm able to get that done. So if you want to manually handle that, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, that's one example in the way that you can do that. So pretty cool. Let me come over here, and I'm going to do a Docker compose down. I think there are other options for the distribution. I don't know what they are, but just because my sample here is just round robin. But I think I think they support all the other ones, like least recently used and other algorithms, so that way you could distribute the traffic however you'd like. Say it again, please. Oh, it probably will, right? Because that round robin would distribute that. Okay. Yep. So, excellent. So here we go. Kubernetes and the raw. So you have your deployment, your replica set, and your service. Let me just tell you my sushi thing. Pods are the sushi chefs. Services are the wait staff. Okay. Because, the pods are the ones actually doing the work. The deployment is the boss, right? So the boss will say, I want, 5 chefs. I want 6 chefs. And they need to be here right now, right? And so they control, how many chefs there are in the sushi restaurant. And the ingress is the host or hostess that's welcoming traffic from the outside world. Okay? So that's what they are. So deployment is the chef or the boss of the sushi chefs. They manage the updates, the scaling, etc. Replica sets are the history. So it's kind of a history ledger of all the deployments that you've done. And then the Kubernetes service is the route. How do we route things? So again, replica sets are the historical releases for a particular deployment. And I just wanted to mention this right over here. So this is the replica set. So there's always like one live replica set. So when you go to a deployment, or you don't go to deployment is just a manager. There's always one live replica set, and that replica set manages the pods, okay? The other replica sets are inactive, but they're historically there, so that way you could roll back to it, and that's the way rollbacks work within Kubernetes. But here's the thing, and it actually took me a long time to realize this, and that is the service and the deployment are two separate things. And I think when you read a book, you tend to see that they'll say, oh, let's do the deployment and the service at the same time. And you're like, okay, let's go ahead and do that. But realistically, you should just be using, roll out the service just once. You don't have to keep redeploying your service over and over, unless you want to do something to fix a service or something like that, or change things around. But it's fixed, but your deployments are changeable. Right? And that changes the replica set. Okay? You don't know what is behind the service desk or how they go about their business, but they just want to fulfill that request. So I think we're kind of used to this. So a deployment manages the pods, but the service routes to the pods. There are different behaviors in how they work. But check this out. You could do this, right? One deployment can have certain tags or certain attributes or certain labels associated with it. The services use labels as well. So deployments would create pods with the labels, and services would route to the labels. So you could actually create a Canary just like this. And again, you don't need any special tools for it. It's just that the deployment would have those particular labels. Okay? And that's what it is. It's all just labels. So a service would route to the app, would have an app example code, and it would go to either one pod, even though that's a different container, or another pod, which is a different container, okay? They are not really related, okay? Now, doing it this way works, but the math is on you, and you would just have to do it a little bit more manually, okay? You could do rollbacks, and you just roll back a deployment, okay? So let's take a look at how that looks. So let's go over here to the Canary presentation. Let's make sure everything is clean. And let's come in over here and let's do the deployment types. Oh, no, it's not that one. Let's do Kubernetes raw canaries. There we go. And there it is. And I will deploy everything, and away we go. No, deny. Let's do everything in here where we will do all the SH files. There we go. And finally, let's do a deploy on here. There it goes. And as part of it, let's just take a look at each of these deployments, right? And here it is. Deployment stable, right? Here it is. I have 3 replicas for this. The label is Nginx, and the version is going to be stable, okay? On the other one is Canary. There it is. And that's one's using a different one. It's still app Nginx. The service is going to route to each of those, okay? I think this should be live as well. So let me go to just regular localhost, and maybe not. I went back to 10,000, but let me just go back to this one. And yeah, what we should see here is this, okay? So let me go a little bit slower. I don't want to affect anyone's brain there, but you see this is red. I'm going to do it again and went back to blue, okay? Just because I'm just doing the routing like that. So you can go about it that way. So fantastic. So next, that was cool. Let's discuss Istio. So Istio makes things a lot nicer. Istio is amazing. It uses something called a sidecar. Sorry, I forgot there for a bit. It's part of what's called an ambassador pattern. And the term service mesh allows us to put these sidecars in each of the pods, and it will do the work for us, right? And that's the idea for that. It can handle the network traffic. You have 2 parts to it. A data plane, which is meant for establishing, securing, and controlling the traffic through a mesh, and the control plane is going to be the brains of the mesh, exposed as an API for operators to manipulate things. And that's the way this will work. So for something like this, here it is. So each app has a particular proxy associated with it. The control plane is going to control where things are going to flow to. You don't have to do anything with your app. It's just that the proxies are going to do all of that work for you, and that includes the Canary, okay? So Istio took the Envoy, like I just showed you the Envoy in that Docker Compose, and it took Envoy and really scaled it out. And so Istio is an open source implementation of using that Envoy, but a more higher grade. Co-founded together with Google, IBM, and Lyft. You could add resilience, observability, but you could also do routing, and that's the joy of it, okay? Applications don't need to know they're a part of a service mesh. So how do you do canaries with an Istio? You create a gateway, you create a virtual service, and you create a destination rule. And with those, you can describe how things should be distributed as far as a canary goes, okay? So another way that you can go about that, okay? Istio has its own ingress called an ingress gateway. And again, what that's going to do is it's just going to drive traffic to wherever it needs to, okay? And again, everything is just going to be a Envoy. Here's an example here of how this works and how a virtual host works. So this is from Istio in Action, which I found to be a wonderful, exciting read. But the idea for this one is if you go to bar.example.com, they're all going to the same point, but that ingress gateway will determine who has what. So foo would have 7.7.7, foo would have 8.8.8, so it would likely round robin to each one of those, and then bar would be 99999, okay? So you can have your own routing. But the best part about this is if you want to drive traffic, you can create what's called a virtual service, okay? That virtual service, you could do things like this. And let me just jump to the point here. Look at that. Is that beautiful? I love you, Istio. All right, so this one right over here has the destination. Now, what we could do is we can create separate hosts. Hello World v1 with a weight of 90. We could also have a Hello World v2 with a weight of 10. 90 and 10. So I should have a 90 and 10 associated with it. That's going to be the one that does the traffic. Now, the destination rule applies the traffic after the routing has occurred, and you could do advanced stuff along with it. So there you could do fine-grained stuff. Let's go ahead and run this one. So taking a look at Istio here, I am going to do the following. I'm going to delete all of these ones here. There we go. And I think we should be good. Also, before I do this, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to the ingress controller, and I'm going to delete that one as well. So I'm using an ingress controller for the Ingress Nginx to drive traffic in. I'm going to remove that one because Istio has its own, and that's the reason why I want to do that. So coming in here then, I am going to go into Istio and show you how to do a canary within Istio. Couple of things here. Let's take a look at each one of these files. So I will have a deployment v1, okay? And here it is. So this one will be using a Nginx version 1. This has a label associated with it, okay? That's part of the deployment here. Let's take a look at deployment v2. Here it is. This will be using 102, so we'll get a different color from it. And that will have a version 2. Now, let's take a look at the destination rule. And let's see what that one looks like. So all this one does is it just links up the name. So here's v1. v1 points to the deployment Simple Nginx version 1. v2 as that label points to Simple Nginx v2. Okay? So we set up that destination rule. Next, let's take a look at the virtual service. This is the one that has the weight associated with it. So I should expect 9 out of 10 is going to go to v1. and therefore 10% out of 100 or 1 out of 10, I should expect the routing to go to V2. Okay? So I don't think I ran it yet. Yeah, I did not. So let me go ahead and set that up. And here we go. Set up. So one of the things in the way Istio works, and I'm going to go ahead and run it here, but you should see it here. Namespace default labeled. So it goes through a process called labeling. And this just marked the default namespace. So every time I deploy a pod in that namespace, it gets a sidecar attached to it, right? And that's the way that works. So this is now running now. And yeah, let's give it a try. Let's see here. Maybe. What port did that open up in? Let's see here. Something is still rolling here. Here's the Istio ingress. It looks like it's just localhost. So I think I'm good here. All right, let's take a look. Or not. Let's see. Is it port 80? I thought it was port 80. Here, maybe I just need to wait for that one component. Someone see something? It was 80, right? Yeah, here's the load balancer here. But I noticed some things were not running yet. Yeah, I don't know. There we go. Nope. It's just like there, and then it just goes away. I'm not sure what's happening there, but such is life sometimes. Let's see. Let me just check one other thing here. Ingress load balancer. Oh, you know what? Did I not deploy everything here? Let me just take a look at one thing here. I just did the setup. I didn't do the deploy. Silly me. I need to deploy the app. There we go. And let's take a look here. There we go. Okay. So blue should be fairly dominant here. So there we go. And then every once in a while, I get a little bit of green there. So that's Istio managing that. So that means that if you want to do your Canary deployment, that's just deploying a particular manifest. And you could just say, all right, here's 80, here's 20, here's 70 and 30, here's 60 and 40 until you decide, hey, everything needs to roll over. And a great and easy way to go about doing that. And that's using a Istio and a virtual service. All right, excellent. Yep. Yep. You could have all those rules. Yeah. Istio should be able to handle that very, very easily as well. Maybe some of the other solutions or like the raw solutions are going to be tough for you to do that. But Istio, easy should, yeah, because you just declare it. Yep. Bidirectional, meaning, well, all these have a pod and they're going to be returned like you have the request response, or do you mean something else? Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, you're attaching to one, so you'll still have that. So when you have the streaming connection, you're hitting the proxy. You're going to be given the connection to one of the pods. But then once you have that established connection, that's the that's a good question then. Now it just settled in my brain then for doing that and getting that streaming connection, because you are if I'm not mistaken, you're continually hitting a IP address, but you may not get that response from the same server. Is that? Yeah. If that is the way, I haven't thought about that. Like for streaming and for WebSockets, you're given a connection, but it's not I'm not sure if it's a sticky connection. And I think that's what makes it a hard part. Right. And then, yeah, but when things terminate, then that will terminate. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Let me stew on that one a little bit more. But yeah, that's a harder question. Okay. So, yeah, all very excellent questions. Yeah, sure, please. Yeah. For Istio, like what are the other use cases? They are together because Istio is Envoy. Istio just takes Envoy. And in fact, you know what? Let's, I think I could even probably, no. It's a good question. It's a great question. So if I take a look at the pods here, this is a wonderful question. It's a wonderful, great question. So it was like, what's the relationship between the Envoy and Istio? You'll notice these here on my Kubernetes. This has a 2 of 2, right? That means there are 2 containers inside of these pods. So one of these are, remember this namespace is marked by Istio, and that if I put any pod in there, it's going to attach the sidecar to it. Well, if I describe this, maybe, let's see, over here, this should have a couple of containers. And darn it, I was hoping this would say Envoy. Maybe it still does somewhere. But one is the simple Nginx one. This one on here, it used to say Envoy on here, but this is the Istio proxy. But the Istio proxy is based off of Envoy. That's what it is. Because of the work of Envoy, that's what helped lead to Istio's existence. So that's why I say it is. It is just further developed so that way it's a part of Kubernetes. Yep, absolutely. So great question on that one. Let's see. So excellent. Let me come in over here and go ahead and clean things up. Here, I'll just go ahead and do a delete, and I will do a destroy. All right, there we go. So that'll go ahead and clean everything up in the meantime. So integrating metrics, obviously you should have good metrics for this, because what's the thing that's going to allow you to change over and, roll over your Canary deployments? You need metrics. I like to use Prometheus, but you can use whatever you like. I think most open source goes with Prometheus. How Prometheus works is you have a server and you have a time series database where everything is written to. But once you capture that, you can use a Prometheus exposition service, is what's that called? Or format, I should say. Prometheus exposition format. And all that is just a format that you could expose from your microservices that has all the metrics that you need. So if you have, and so you can create like smoke tests with web pages. Like, I'm going to this particular web page. This should be successful every time. The front page should be successful every time. But you could also measure things like latency and a few other items as well. So that's where that's from. And in fact, let me skip ahead on this one here. Here's an example of the exposition format. Okay. Just a file. And so there's just going to be an endpoint in your microservice that would expose that. That's what would be snagged by Prometheus. And so now you can, do things reasonable as far as a Canary deployment. A lot of time for a lot of these microservices like Quarkus, you have micrometer to do that. So that way you could just expose that from yours. Here it is. You could do small RAI metrics. But I think a lot of you are doing Spring. Let me jump over to Spring or Spring Boot. This one you'd use micrometer, and there you're exposing your Prometheus. So if you load up the Prometheus operator, then you can track things. But the one I want to jump to is, what are those metrics, right? What are the metrics that are important in Canary deployments? Request rate, error rate, success rate, right? What is your tolerance there? Latency, how things are slow, average response time. Those are some other things that you want to mention. CPU usage, memory usage, disk and network utilization. If your new rollout is taking up too much disk for whatever reason, you need to be aware of that, right? And so you could really, really tie in these metrics to, know that this rollout is going to be a good rollout. Any kind of throughput, capacity saturation, business key indicators, internal service metrics, and on and on. Okay, so those are the things that you want to look forward to. Let me show Flagger as the next one. Flagger is a Kubernetes operator that automates the promotion or rollback of new software releases based on performance analysis. And this will be using Prometheus as well. Okay? Designed for progressive delivery where new versions are gradually rolled out into production. Okay? So now we're getting a little bit more automated to do these kind of canaries. And it works with Istio, Linkerd, and other ingress controllers out there. So the idea for something like this is the following. Notice here that Flagger uses Prometheus, and Prometheus tracks all the metrics that it's needing. And this one's using FluxCD. I got this diagram, I think, from FluxCD, but I'm going to be using it with Istio. The ingress will have 90-10 or 80-20 or whatever. That will go to the service, and that will go to the deployment. But what this will do is it will do the measuring for you. Go to the metrics, and you'll specify what metrics are going to be the ones that are important to you. If it fails, it doesn't move. Or if it fails, you can have it roll back, right? And it will do that automatically for you. Okay? So very cool. So just a little table here of how is this related to Istio. Istio is, again, the service mesh, but what Flagger does allows us to do this progressive delivery over time. Okay? And that's the best part. So we could do automatic Canary, blue-green rollouts, etc. Could integrate with Prometheus, Datadog, and other monitoring tools. Okay? So here, let's just jump right in. Okay, so on to the demo. Let's take a look over here. All right, let's see. I want to make sure everything's clean. It is. So let me come in over here and show you how Flagger is going to be running on this one. Okay, here we go. Istio Flagger, and I'm going to go ahead and do a setup. So I'll be using Istio again, and here we go. I need to upgrade Istio. I just saw that right now. But it's fine. Everything works, so I'm not going to complain. So here we go. Namespace default is labeled, so that means any pods that I'm going to deploy on it's going to get that Envoy or that Istio proxy. And there we go. Looks like I have a couple of warnings here, but I don't think that should harm me in any way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the following. I'm going to take a look at this. Let's see. We have this Canary here. Yeah, take a look at this one. I'm going to be deploying a Canary. This is a CRD, right? A custom resource definition. You can have different things that you can roll into Kubernetes, okay? And what this one is this one will state we will auto-scale on this simple Nginx. We have some retries here. But right over here is our analysis. The interval of every one method. We have a max number of failed metric checks before any rollback. We have max traffic percentage routed to Canary. We have an increment step, so we're going to do 10% each time. And since this is tied into Prometheus, I'll have some metrics. I want to see the request success rate, okay, and what the threshold should be, and the request duration, okay? That should be within 30 seconds. Or whatever kind of metrics that you want, you'll specify this here. And that's going to be the Canary document. Now, next, let's take a look at the deployment here. And here it is. So this is just the simple Nginx. I'm going to start with version 103. Okay, and that's the thing that I'm going to be deploying. So I think I've already set it up. Maybe. Take a look at the pods over here. Yeah, Istio is rolling, and Flagger is rolling as well. Next, I am going to deploy the application. And remember, this is on version 103. Let's see if that's working. Should be working. Or not. Or let's see what's going on here. Should be rolling. Yeah, there it is. There should be an ingress rolling on localhost. Yeah, not sure why this is blank. Should be deployed. Not sure what's going on there. I don't think this should stop me though. Maybe. Yeah. Even if it doesn't show up, I think we're good. I hope it shows up here. Let me just try one more. Oh, I need it to show up. Sorry about that. Yeah, localhost :80. Let's see. I'm sure I did a deploy. And there's the gateway, and there's the Canary there. I don't see any errors or anything like that. Let me just check one more thing here. Oh, here it is. So this one's terminating. There it goes. So I have the simple Nginx here. There it is. All right, so here's 103. Just took a little bit of time there. Sorry about that. So I have this version. I have the red rolling here. And up to this point, check this out. So I'm going to go over here to Canaries with this, and I see this. This is the CRD. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right down over here to where I could see the events. And there it is. So waiting for a rollout to finish, all the metrics and providers are available, and the initialization is done. Great. Now what I'm going to do, panic and run out of the room. That's my next step. No, that's not what it is. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to edit the deployment on here. And let's say the new one here is going to be, I think I have a 102. There it is. There's 102. I think that looks great. Did I save it? Always save. And I'm going to do a kubectl apply -f and deployment. Okay. And as I deploy that, I'm going to be really quick about this. Here we go. I'm going to run AB. Anyone use AB? Apache Bench. If you have a Mac machine, you already have it. And what this is going to do is it's going to throttle your application. So here we go. And running this right over here, it was primarily red. And what we should see here is, some, new website coming in, but, only a little bit. And maybe not yet, but I'm just going to keep throttling this until something happens. So keep rolling that. And I'm going to come in over here and let's see what this looks like over here. Looks like it's syncing, but I don't know if you noticed that. Now it's progressing. So it's measuring the Prometheus here. There it is. New version detected and scaling things up. So at this time right now, I'm using AB and I'm manipulating this right over here. And I'll just manipulate it up to a point here. I have about 10 minutes left, but keep on hitting it, keep on hitting it, keep on hitting it. La, 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 la. Okay? And, oh, hey, you see that there? Something happened along the way. So if I come back over here, we should be able to see that we reached, there it is. Wait, see the wait, WEIGHT, we've just went up to 10%. Because it measured the success rate and everything that we need. And we see that right over here that it just advanced that. Pretty cool, right? And that's what Flagger does for us. It's a different product, but it just complements with Istio. So Flagger can run on Istio or Linkerd or any one of those, sidecar backends.
It relies entirely on the control plane, not on the data plane.
Let's see. I thought it did both. So one is doing the management of the data, and the other part is
service specific.
Right. Yeah.
Still will be the cycles will be equal, but this is interacting with Istio was that influencer regarding the
Correct. And we're just adding the Canary to it, which is just doing the management of the percentages. So you don't have to manually change percentages on any kind of manifest or anything like that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, great.
How did it take to go?
It just does. That's my answer. We could see this. So this one's continually throttling here. Here, let's take a look. Did it progress? No, it's still there. Ooh, it had one failed check there. But you'll notice there the max weight. I'm not avoiding your question, by the way. So it's, how is it done with Prometheus? Let's answer that question. 2 failed checks have just happened there. But let's take a look at the pods. There's Prometheus on here. So one of the things that it has is, as you roll this out, it does come with Prometheus already, and it registers that already for you. But let's take a look at the manifest here, since you did ask that question. Let's come in over here. Here's the Istio flagger, and I think we will see that. We did see that already in the Canary, and that's what this is, right? And that's going to be using the Prometheus. So on your behalf, it will do that setup for you along with Prometheus. I thought there was let me just take a look at the deploy on here. Yeah, I think this will give you the answer to the question or not. Oh, let's do cat setup sh. So this is my setup. I think this is going to answer your question directly. So what we have here is the following. The top one is installing Istio. Thanks for asking this question. Next, we have the label, which means anything that gets added to default will automatically get a sidecar attached to it. This will launch the gateway, which allows us to do an ingress gateway. And then these are the Istio add-ons, which I think answers your question. So we'll have Prometheus, we'll have Grafana, we'll have Kiali, we'll have Jaeger. I forgot which one the Kiali was, but Jaeger does the spans for you. Prometheus is the metrics, and Grafana is the graphic. This one right here is the metrics components, because so one of the things that it needs as part of it is attaching to the metrics of Kubernetes. So like in K9's right over here, you'll notice I have CPU 5% and memory. That's the metrics. So that doesn't show up unless, you have the metrics. But that's where it all comes from. Okay? All right. Well, I have about 2 minutes left. Let me just do one more. Yeah, go. Can I what? Yeah. I forgot. But let's see over here. Min replicas for... Yeah, I don't think I actually do need it. I think I'd probably just included it in there by accident for the auto scanning, because I don't think it's a part of the flagger. Thanks for asking that question, though. Yep. All right, excellent. Let's do this. I'm going to go to the Istio flagger. I may go just a little bit over time. Let's do a delete, and then let's do a destroy. So with the time I have remaining left, I do want to show you Argo CD. So Argo CD had that. Love Argo CD. So let me just complete everything in here. And let me do Argo CD. I'll do this again. This one has a rollout. Let's take a look at what that one is, because I'm going to be deploying that. This one is set a weight to 20, then pause. Set a weight to 40, then pause. Then do set a weight to 60, then pause, and then 80, and then pause. So you get to describe what your setup is there, okay? And that will take care of everything for you. So let me just go ahead and roll this one out. And let me just go ahead and do a setup on here. And there we go. So this is going to be using something called rollouts. Argo rollouts is the one that's going to be managing this. There's going to be a Prometheus that's already running as part of this, and it will track those metrics for you. This is the last session of the day, though, right? All right. Oh, it's already in use, darn it. Let's see. So it looks like I'll be running out of time here. But yeah, everything should have been running there. And this should have been showing up. What port was that? Maybe it's already running. Was it localhost 3000? Or something like that. 3100. Hey, nice. Cool. Demo's going to likely work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and roll that out. And here we go. So let's go ahead and do a deploy on that. There we go. Let's take a look at the rollout here. And there it is. So there's the initial rollout. And you see everything that is rolling here. This one says it is a Canary stage. So then let's go ahead and manipulate this. Thank you for the help. Appreciate it. Let's see. Good demos are always a thing that I'm reliant on from the audience. So here we go. Here's the rollout on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this one to purple. And then I'll be done. I know all the workers here have been here all day and they're tired, but let me just do this one. And I'll just go ahead and do a rollout here. So kubectl, apply, -F, and finally rollout.yaml. There it is. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So the first step, I had a blank there on the pause. So that means that it's going to be up to me to promote that. Okay. So this will be, are you sure you want to promote that? So I have 1 for revision 2 for the Canary, and I could just update that now. Okay. Now that would be 2. That one's going to be deleted. Okay. And I could promote. Are you sure you want to promote? Yes. And on and on. Okay. So that's all declarative as well. And that's what Argo rollouts was. Hey, that was awesome, right? A nice little one here. Cool. Yeah. And the reason it's manual is this right over here, right? That pause with a bracket there is manual approval. Otherwise, it'll wait a duration like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. I didn't want to wait, so I pushed it forward without. Yeah, this one, maybe you're right. Maybe it is 10 seconds. I thought it was 10 minutes, but yeah, I forgot. It's some amount of time. And then this one right here, you could promote it while it's still waiting. So maybe if you want to rush it through, you can. But this one's going to take some amount of time. It does. There's a Prometheus tied to it as well. Yeah. I don't know if there are other metrics packages, but the last 2 I showed you, Flagger and Argo CD, ties into metrics packages, and I'll set that for you. And I think it's also a part of this as well. I don't know if I have this one here, but you should be able to, no, I don't, but I think you should be able to specify the metrics you definitely want to look out for in order to do your particular rollouts. Yep. Cool. Awesome. I thought that was fun. Cool. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.